Back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day and made some glorious gains. So today I didn't want to discuss, oh damn it, section 468, which is titled "The Kingdom of Beauty is Greater," which is a really cool one. It's one of those that go beyond the pale of morality and ask a very tough question. So here we go. It's a little longer than usual, but whatever. Quote, "We move about in nature, cunning and cheerful, in order that we may surprise everything in the beauty peculiar to it. We make an effort, whether in sunshine or under a stormy sky, to see a distant part of the coast with its rocks, bays, and olive and pine trees under an aspect in which it achieves its perfection and consummation. Thus also we should walk about among men as their discoverers and explorers, meting out to them good and evil, in order that we may unveil the peculiar beauty which is seen with some in the sunshine, in others under thunderclouds, or with others again only in twilight and under a rainy sky. Are we then forbidden to enjoy the evil man like some savage landscape which possesses its own bold and daring lines and luminous effects? While the same man, so long as he behaves well and in conformity with the law, appears to us to be an error of drawing and a mere caricature which offends us like a defect in nature? Yes, this is forbidden. For as yet we have only been permitted to seek beauty in anything that is morally good. And this is sufficient to explain why we have found so little, and we have been compelled to look for beauty without either flesh or bones. In the same way as evil men are familiar with innumerable kinds of happiness which the virtuous never dream of, we may also find among them innumerable types of beauty, many of them as yet undiscovered." End quote. And this is freaking spectacular. Because it is that question that I always pose even to friends, is when, when I have people always ask me, "Oh, why do you always have to read about dictators and stuff like that? Aren't you like weird as fuck?" Like, dude, like your myopia of vision is not allowing you to see the genius in some of these people. From the very beginning, we're always told that beautiful is good. Only the good is beautiful. And we should only look to the good to find any influence or any inspiration for what it is to be beautiful. And because I like the way that he describes this is when you look at nature, like nature and its stormy clouds and the storms and the rain and desert, the snow and all these other precarious environments for us as human beings, they're still extremely beautiful, even with the underlying danger, with the underlying possibility of death, possibility of hurt, possibility of getting hurt. The contrast between the beautiful sun and the dark clouds, that's what makes a landscape beautiful, right? Not just sunshine and rainbows all the fucking time. It's quite boring. If you keep looking at that shit all the time, there's not going to be a lot of inspiration for you. It's the same crap every single time. There's no depth, there's no fluidity, there's no options. But of course, that's not what religion wants to offer you. They want everything to be absolute. But it is a question, are we really forbidden to enjoy the evil man? Because, when you look at these evil men, when you go beyond the pale morality, there's more to learn from them than there is to learn from some pious jackass. These pious fools who always are the same way, who are extremely intolerant, who are very dogmatic in their viewpoints. They're just very exuberant and very charismatic in their myopia. There's no contrast. There's no uniqueness to them. They're always the same shit. And that's why he always says that we are compelled to look for beauty without either flesh and bones. And that's why when it comes to what it is to be beautiful, we need ideals. Because it's not good enough what we have here in the world. The contrast that's contained even within us, that's not good enough. Because we have semblance of what it is to be evil, right? But that's not good enough. That's why, beauty has to be ideal. You look at emperors and you even look at Socrates, He wanted to censor the gods because, Zeus was around, taking women whenever he wanted and doing his thing. But Socrates would be like, yo, we can't have that. A god can't be that way. He has to be perfect. He has to exhibit all these qualities, and that's it. There is no room for maneuver. There is no room for discussion, for refutations. But beauty is found in the contrast. Beauty is found between the gradations of light and dark, and we have to be, and not many of us are able to make that jump, and for humans, even for the most atrocious of humans, even for the most vile of humans, according to the vote of the majority, right? You look at Stalin, for example, a guy that got away with it. A man that died, never indicted for all the crimes against humanity that he did. People give a lot of shit to the guy from the Third Reich, but he really don't have. He has nothing on Stalin. A man that got away with it, and a man that there's a lot to learn from. Same thing with Lenin that I'm reading right now. There's stuff to learn. We can't just always say these people are evil, and the only reason that we ever need to learn from them, or the only reason that we ever need to read from, is to not be that way. There's nothing to draw from. There's no inspiration. There is no genius behind them. They're just madmen. But there is something to learn from. These are men that were incredibly aware of how the world works, how reality works, without the bullshit of ideals, without the bullshit perception of what it is to be beautiful. It is pure, it's pristine, free from dirt, free from the grime, free from the sins of man. Where are you going to find this person? Where are you going to find this landscape? Nowhere, only in the imagination. And what good is that going to do for you? How can that possibly be beautiful if it's not real? You know what I'm saying? It's not part of you. There's no longer that substance. It's just bullshit imaginations. But there is always something to learn from these crazy men, these terribly genius men. Stalin rapidly industrializing Russia, or the Soviet Union. Even with the Holodomor and the 5-year plans and the crazy shit that he did, the Great Purges and all this stuff, and he became a red czar. His influence, his power was undisputed. There's things to learn about methods of government from that man. If you just go beyond the pale, if you just go beyond the scope that there is beauty to be found in the vile. There is beauty to be found in the marshes. There's beauty to be found in the deserts, and there's beauty to be found in the swamps and the deluges. That there is something to draw from, And once you allow that scope, once you allow yourself to go beyond, to go to that level, the world becomes far more beautiful. And that's why he says, evil men are familiar with innumerable kinds of happiness, which the virtuous never dream of. Because when you become this so-called virtuous person, you place yourself in a jail cell. You've sectioned off a piece of the world that's only possible for you, because if you go beyond it, everything that you believe in is going to start crumbling away. But then you never see the true essence and the true power of the world looking at through that way. That's why those evil men really do find happiness and more avenues of happiness, because they're not attached that way. They're not holding that baggage. They're not looking at the world through some delusional point of view. The world is cruel. The world is all these things. Might as well take advantage of it and make your own impact from that perspective. And that's why they find happiness, because they're willing to do what is necessary. And that pride that comes from doing what is necessary, and the results that you were expected from performing that. So you're doubly inflating your pride and your ego in ways that a virtuous man can never do. And like I said, a lot of these conversations a lot of times are taboo for many people, because you have to be a good person to be beautiful. You can't be any of these. You can't be a Genghis Khan, or you can't be a Tamerlane. You can't be some savage motherfuckers. But there's something to learn from them. You know, all the great leaders from way back then were some brutal fucks. But it's because of them that civilization is where it's at today. You know what I'm saying? Like, beauty came from the savageness of them. Beauty is only possible because of the efforts by the ugly, by the evil. And that's the only way that beauty ever comes into existence in the first place. Beauty does not stem from beauty. Beauty needs contrast. Beauty needs that vileness, that animal part of us that a lot of us want to brush off and pretend that we have somehow evolved and elevated beyond those aspects of our genetics, when that's just not the case. You know, I like these. You know, I like how he says that, you know, that the man who isn't conformed with the law is just a mere caricature, which offends us like a defect in nature, because where in nature you're going to find someone like that? That's always following the rules and things of that nature. It's kind of an affront to your intelligence, an affront to who you are as a human being, that this is what's offered as beautiful, something that you can never reach. And it's always going to remind you how insignificant you are, or how unimportant you are, and only through the favor of God can you ever do anything great, or all this other bullshit, when, you know, you're a human being. And even and in those flaws is beauty, right? In those flaws and those sometimes selfish things, there's still beauty, because we're all selfish. It's just a matter of gradation, and it just matters of who you ask, right? There's a defendant for everybody. That's just how the world works, and I know a lot of us don't like to think about it that way, but it is. You know, because even with this supposed beauty and virtue, there's a sort of tyranny that's involved, a tyranny that you have to place yourself under by some metaphysical bullshit, because they're the ones that are, you know, that ideal has a set of virtues that you have to follow in order to be beautiful. So you're always going to be oppressed in that fashion, instead of allowing yourself to be free. And appreciating the different gradations that are contained within you, and not just focusing on one aspect that is never possible. So I like stuff like this, because it just, you know, it kind of validates some of my own inclinations of who I read and what I focus on. Is because, you know, it's only through the looking at the crap that you could see the sun, and the sun becomes far more beautiful. Everything becomes far more beautiful when you already looked at the darkness of it all. You know, that contrast really is necessary to get a broad semblance of beauty, what it is to be beautiful, not myopia beauty, not dogmatic beauty, but beauty in all shapes and forms. You know, beauty in the storms, beauty in the desert, beauty in the rocks and all this stuff, and under the stormy skies, just like with human beings, you know, all the baggage that they contain as well. Not to be so dogmatic, and not be so extreme as to you have to be this and this and this to be beautiful, or you're evil. I like these sort of things. The kingdom of beauty is greater for those who have a grander vision of what beauty is, right? Not the virtuous who are tyrannizing over themselves to never be fulfilled. It's like a foolish endeavor that will never be realized, you know. So I like that. This is a very cool one. You know, are we really forbidden to enjoy the evil men? You know, until right now we probably are, you know, for the most part. So that'll be it for this video. I really this guy's always hitting it with bangers. It's really something else, right? But that'll be it for today. I'm gonna go ahead and continue reading. I do hope y'all enjoy. I hope y'all have an amazing day. Make some beautiful gains. And until next time, peace.